Mandy Shore here from smoothjazz.com on board the Smooth Jazz Cruise 2013, week 1. And with me, Dane Butcher. I'm great. You are the cruise director.
I am. I'm having fun.
I have some questions for you.
Go ahead.
This is a good opportunity for that, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
So your background is cruising.
Yeah, well, actually, it's a lot of different things. I was born and raised in Australia.
Okay.
And when I left school, I started acting, and I did some TV down there.
All right.
Then I got asked to cruise, and I cruised for many years. And then I've been hosting the cruises and doing some other stuff as well with Michael.
Very cool. So do you have what brought you to smooth jazz?
Well, actually, I met Michael. I was familiar with smooth jazz, but it's not a huge genre in Australia. But there's a few artists down there that do smooth jazz.
Okay.
A guy from Singapore originally by the name of Andrew O, and he had this album called Silk. Do you know Andrew?
Yeah, we play Andrew.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he had Silk,
Okay.
and I fell in love with it. And then, I love Delita Adams and I love Jonathan Butler and many of the artists on board in the 2005 cruise. I met Michael, helped him out with a whole bunch of stuff on the cruise, told him I was leaving the ship. He said, hey, why don't you come work for me? I didn't believe him. And we did the Cos cruise after that, and then one thing fell into another, and
that's fantastic.
8-9 years later, whatever it's been.
So you're bringing all your skills to the game here.
I'm trying.
You're acting, you're great personality.
I'm doing my best.
Yeah, and very organized.
Everyone sort of says, well, what do you do for the other 51 weeks of the year? But there's a lot. We do everything from the artist schedules to their contracts to, getting the programs together and their set lists and trying to better each year. What we like to do is, in lack of better terms, keep the meat.
Yes.
And change the potatoes. So we always do our great sort of events like the horn seminar and the keyboard seminar and things like that, the guitar seminar, keep our strong shows, and then try to change it up because variety is the spice of life.
Love it. I love it. And are you doing all of the other cruises that ECP is doing?
Yeah, the only one I'm not doing is the Celtic Thunder, which happens to be at the same time as the Malt Shop. And we've done Malt Shop now 2 years in a row, and I've now built up a relationship with those artists and the musicians there, and the guests too, because we do Soul Train, the Soul Train cruise in about 3 weeks, and a lot of those guests don't know me, and I'm not an artist, and they wouldn't know me from a bar of soap. So it's once you sort of get established on the cruise to come back year after year. Now the guests on here are like, it's just a familiar family.
Right, it is.
And it will be then going forward for Soul Train. So I'm doing Malt Shop. I will probably not go forward and do Celtic Thunder because I won't have the opportunity to.
Yeah.
So I'm already established in Malt Shop, so that makes sense.
You're busy. You're working all the time.
Yeah.
And behind the scenes as well as in front of the scenes, which is really a lot of work, keeping the artist happy, the guests happy,
And you know what it's like. I mean, it's like doing the interviews. Every artist is changing constantly from their albums and their tours and sometimes even their genres. And, like Rick Braun's now singing. And so to keep up with everybody, it's borderline impossible. So you're on the go 24/7.
You're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
We love it. And everybody here's I think this is actually the happiest crowd I've seen ever in the last 10 years. What do you think?
Yeah, it's the show, they're singing like in the shows before the shows, which we've never had before, and that's the 9 o'clock show. So I don't know if they've had like all that time over dinner to be drinking and they're drunk, but either way they're having a good time. But now I have questions for you because I know you always do the interviews.
I do,
but now I'm going to switch it up a little. What's your favorite thing on the cruise?
My favorite thing is to mingle with the artists, except for there's a guitar player on board and a bassist. I avoid them like the plague. They've been in every interview I've done. I don't know if you know who they're, the Crows.
Yeah, they're like the crows that you saw on the electricity lines there, and they're sort of they're there giving people a hard time. Yeah. It's Jerry Johnson and Nate Kearney Jr. And they're actually
those are the two.
They're back there, and I think they're a little scared to give me any nonsense.
They are. Dane is the only one that they've avoided, and people watching the YouTube channel right now know that. Well, even Marcus Miller wasn't sacred.
Well, that's because I write their contracts.
Okay. and sign the checks. No, my favorite.
Michael signs the checks, but
My favorite thing is to be able to see the artists. I mean, I've known these guys a long time, but everybody gets to chat with the artists, and they're so happy to do it. And I think that is a very special thing. So there's no lines anymore. They play, and then you can go visit with Marcus Miller, or David, or any of them.
And you might have noticed this too. The funny thing for me is George Benson comes on board. He is George Benson. I mean, he can't go anywhere without being recognised.
Right.
And I asked to do on board we do a little morning TV show that he did right after his show on the first night.
Wow.
I said, hey man, you cool? And he stayed on board that night. He wanted to just chill.
Good.
I said, you want to go back to the room? He's like, no man, I want to go to the club. So he literally came up to the Crow's Nest and hung all night, and then he wanted to go ashore the next day and go shopping and go for lunch. So it was just he and I. But we're downtown Cozumel. Guests are coming up. Yeah, come in, get a photo. You want a drink? Nicest guy in the world. And that's what's unique about the cruise, I think.
Absolutely.
There's no separation.
No, and that's who these people are. And even a big star like George Benson feels comfortable around the smooth jazz crowd.
Yeah, it was it was incredible. I was expecting, like not a diva, because I've only ever heard the nicest things about him, but every one of the artists on board are just like you and me. They just want to hang and be with people, and it's pretty cool.
I keep looking, I keep thinking maybe enough's enough, and they never leave, especially Marcus. I mean, he's just hanging, It's fun.
And for us new artists too, like we had Bob James, Angie Stone, after her show on the first night was like, hey, can I come back? She's like, this is great. And I know she's done other cruises and it's been a little more hectic and the guests don't get to see all of the shows on certain cruises. But here they get to see every artist. I mean, that's part of our unique product, is that they're promised to see every artist. And I think because of that, then the guests are relaxed. There's not an urgency now to see the artist, because they know they're guaranteed to do that.
I think that's where you also are exceptional at your job, honestly, is that you figured out how to schedule these people so that we can see them all. We're running around to try to catch, the artists and interviews and pictures and stuff, but we're actually seeing people very, very happy inside the functionality of the cruise. It's not stressful.
No, and thank you for that. But the way I do it is I do my best to actually make it easier for the artist.
Yeah.
Because I know that there's always going to be, we've got close to 50 artists on board and musicians. And so I can always do stuff that guests are going to like. Mm-hmm. But if I make the artist schedule more accommodating for them and more relaxed, then they're more at ease and they want to meet more people. And so
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a chess game, really. Yeah. It is. It's a fun chess game.
I'll show you. At another time, I'll show you our grid, but it literally is just blocks of squares that we place. It's a jigsaw puzzle. We put it together.
That's cool.
But they're all there, and it's just a matter of, getting it all in line.
So we're talking to Dane Butcher, one of the great minds behind Entertainment Cruise Productions and the Smooth Jazz Cruise, and what goes on. And this is why it's such a great opportunity for you to not only have a wonderful vacation, but also to meet the artists and to be very well taken care of, from the fun little gifts that are left in the room to the food and to all the thoughtful things that you do here.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Nice to finally meet you and sit and talk to you, Dane. Yeah, you do a great job.
Time all the years to have it.
Because you're so busy, you're so busy. But this is great. We'll do it again soon.
Cool.
Okay, Sandy Shore for the Smooth Jazz Cruise and Smooth Travel. Check us out there. On Facebook, it's the Smooth Jazz Cruise after that little slash mark. You know what I'm saying? And the smoothjazzcruise.com. Thanks again.